The sun descended, casting a warm glow over the Bodhi tree where Buddha sat, surrounded by his devoted disciples. Silence filled the air, and the soft rustle of leaves accompanied the serenity of the evening. "Your thoughts are like clouds, transient and often obscuring clarity," he said, his voice tender yet firm. I hesitated, overwhelmed by questions pressing at the edges of my mind like waves crashing on cliffs. He gestured toward a small bird perched on a low branch, chirping softly in its morning melodies. "Observe the bird," he instructed, his gaze steady and his words piercing through my restless thoughts. "But the skies remained barren," Buddha continued, "and the fields grew parched, cracked under the unforgiving heat of the sun. The farmer, overcome with despair, sought my guidance," Buddha said, his gaze steady, reflecting a profound depth of compassion. I nodded, my heart yearning to grasp the depth of his words. Though my mind lingered in confusion, he picked up a fallen leaf, its veins vivid against the frailty of its form, and held it gently. I asked him, Buddha said, "Is it truly the absence of rain that causes your suffering? Or is it something within?" The disciples exchanged glances, the question lingering like a ripple on a still pond, prompting reflection and introspection. The farmer responded, "It is the absence of rain. It is the relentless sun. It is the silence of the skies. How does one break free?" I asked, my voice carrying the weight of longing for answers I couldn't articulate. "Through mindful awareness," he replied. "See reality as it is, without clinging or averting, and liberation unfolds." The bird took flight, its wings slicing through the air with grace, its freedom painting the vast blue canvas. I said to the farmer, "You wish to control that which is uncontrollable. This is the root of your anguish." He leaned forward slightly, his eyes meeting mine as if reading the labyrinth of doubts within my heart. "Freedom begins not in escaping," he said, "but in embracing. Not in running, but in understanding the present." Each word settled into my chest like rain seeping into parched earth, igniting a quiet introspection within. He pointed toward the lotus blossoms swaying gently upon the pond's still waters, their purity untainted by mud. "These flowers arise from the very muck surrounding them, yet they thrive unblemished by their origins," he elaborated. "It is possible," he continued, "to engage with the world while transcending its impurities. Like the lotus." I closed my eyes, his analogy painting vivid imagery in the canvas of my thoughts, stirring something deep. He dug deep, Buddha said, and there he found a spring, hidden beneath the surface, waiting to quench the thirst of the earth. The disciples breathed deeply, as if the story itself had nourished their spirits, the lessons cascading into the chambers of their hearts. "The journey of understanding," he emphasized, "begins with the willingness to step into vulnerability, releasing the illusion of control." The sun now cast golden rays through the banyan's leaves, dappling the ground with flecks of light and shadow. "Return to your breath," Buddha suggested. "It is the anchor keeping you in the moment." The disciples bowed their heads slightly, the simplicity and depth of the teaching sinking into their consciousness. "Now," Buddha said, his voice like the soft hum of a flute, "reflect on this story. Ponder its meaning in your lives." The disciples closed their eyes, their breaths synchronized, their minds opening to the stillness within. Buddha sat silently, his presence anchoring the moment, the story resonating within the collective spirit of his devoted followers. The sun set completely, and the first stars emerged, twinkling like the wisdom that had been shared. The Bodhi tree stood steadfast, its roots deep, its leaves sheltering the seekers of truth from the storms of the world. Under its canopy, the lessons of acceptance and freedom continued to bloom, nourishing those who chose to listen. "It emerges within. When all else falls away," he spoke again, his voice gentle yet resonant. like a distant drumbeat guiding wanderers through the fog. Your struggle is not against the world, he stated, but against the illusions your mind weaves about the world. I contemplated his words, their essence teasing the fringes of my understanding, yet sparking a faint hope within. There was once a merchant, he said, known for his grand possessions and the wealth he amassed through years of tireless labor. The disciples leaned forward, their curiosity piqued by the unfolding tale, sensing the profound lesson hidden within Buddha's words. One fateful day, Buddha continued, a tempest seized his ship, its waves swallowing all that he owned, leaving him destitute. The disciples exchanged glances, their expressions tinged with sympathy, imagining the despair that must have consumed the merchant's heart. He roamed the streets, Buddha said, his eyes filled with sorrow, his spirit weighed down by the loss of his worldly treasures. The merchant sought my guidance, Buddha said, and asked me, why has fate stripped me of all that I built? He despaired. The river speaks, Buddha remarked softly, his gaze fixed on the flowing water. It teaches us the essence of impermanence. I joined him, settling onto a smooth rock, feeling the cool morning breeze carrying the whispers of nature around us. What does it mean to let go? I asked, the question pressing against my thoughts like a knot in a cord. He dipped his hand into the water, letting droplets escape his fingers, blending seamlessly back into the flow. Release, Buddha explained, is not loss, but the return to harmony. There, you will find the essence of who you are. The merchant's despair began to unravel, Buddha explained, his resistance yielding to the gentle touch of introspection and understanding. Observe its path, he said, and you will see the wisdom of yielding, the strength in flowing with life. I watched the water, mesmerized by its perpetual motion, reflecting the skies and the surrounding forest with elegant simplicity. Buddha lifted a pebble, holding it delicately in his hand, then tossed it lightly into the river's gentle embrace. The pebble, he said, is not fighting to stay above, it sinks, becoming one with its environment, not separate. I pondered his words, trying to reconcile my resistance to change with the natural acceptance found in the world around me. The struggle exists, Buddha continued, only in your mind. Reality flows, and it is your perception that builds barriers. I listened intently, his words weaving through the spaces within me where doubt and uncertainty had taken root. He turned his attention to the trees standing steadfast by the banks, their roots deeply entwined within the earth's depth. The merchant began to embrace his loss, Buddha said, and with it, he embraced himself, the essence of his being. The disciples exchanged thoughtful glances, the story weaving its way into their hearts, its wisdom illuminating the depths of their consciousness. The merchant found peace, Buddha said, not in reclaiming his possessions, but in releasing his grief, in discovering freedom through acceptance. Buddha's voice softened further, like the gentle murmur of a stream flowing beneath the moonlit sky. Which will you embrace? The river seemed to echo his teachings, flowing endlessly forward, adapting to obstacles, never ceasing or questioning its course. How can we learn to adapt so effortlessly? I asked, my voice tentative, as the currents mirrored my restless thoughts. Through self-awareness, Buddha replied, observe without judgment, understand without attachment, and life will unfold before you with its true nature. The disciples closed their eyes, their breaths harmonizing with the stillness surrounding them, the lesson settling into their souls. Under the Bodhi tree, amidst the stillness of night, the teachings of Buddha continued to bloom, nurturing the seekers of truth. The stars above twinkled like jewels scattered across the heavens, witnessing the quiet transformation of hearts seeking freedom in acceptance. Another day, another gathering beneath the shade of the Bodhi tree, where Buddha's teachings illuminated the hearts of his disciples. The atmosphere carried a stillness, broken only by the faint murmur of wind among the leaves and distant bird calls. Buddha sat, his posture serene, his gaze steady as he addressed his disciples once more. "There was once a warrior," Buddha began, his voice calm and resonant, flowing like a gentle stream through the quiet gathering. This warrior was feared across the land, his strength unmatched, his victories celebrated, his name spoken in awe and reverence. The disciples leaned in, their minds curious and open, drawn to the depth and wisdom unfolding in Buddha's words. One day, Buddha continued, he was captured in battle, his enemies binding him in chains and imprisoning him within their fortress. The truth of his words resonated deeply, the realization of impermanence bringing both fear and liberation into my awareness. "How do you find peace amidst impermanence?" I asked, the question spilling from my lips like water escaping cupped hands. "The warrior sought my guidance," Buddha said, "and asked me, how can I find freedom when my body is shackled and my spirit torn?" Buddha paused, allowing the weight of the warrior's despair to settle among his disciples. Drawing them deeper into reflection, I asked him, Buddha said, "What binds you more, your iron chains or the fury that consumes your heart and clouds your vision?" The disciples remained silent, their minds attuned to the profound simplicity of the question, sensing the truth hidden within its folds. "Resistance," Buddha said, "is born of fear, and fear clouds the heart, preventing you from seeing the profound reality of life." I nodded, my thoughts intertwining with his teachings, struggling against the habitual patterns of resistance carved within me. He stood, his movements slow and deliberate, as if honoring every step he took upon the earth's surface. "Walk with me," he invited, his tone warm, yet imbued with a sense of purpose that drew me forward. The forest enveloped us, sunlight filtering through the canopy, casting dappled shadows and golden rays upon our path. "Life, much like this forest," Buddha explained, "is filled with contrasts, light and dark, growth and decay, beginnings and endings." The weight of his teachings began to lift, revealing a freedom in their truths that encouraged hope and understanding. "It is not the path that defines you," Buddha remarked, "but the intention and awareness with which you travel it." I considered his words, letting them unfold within me like new leaves, unfurling with the warmth of sunlight and truth. The river's hum faded into the distance as our steps carried us farther, deeper into the sanctuary of the forest. "There is beauty," Buddha observed, "in surrender, in letting go of the need to control and trusting life's natural progression." The trail narrowed, leading us into a clearing filled with wildflowers, their colors vibrant against the rich green of the grass. "You see," Buddha said, motioning toward the flowers, "they bloom without question, embodying the pure joy of existence without attachment." I knelt, touching the petals gently, feeling the softness and fragility, appreciating the lesson they imparted through their quiet presence. "You are capable," Buddha whispered, "of blooming like these flowers, embracing life's impermanence with grace and an open heart." A single flower swayed, its movements harmonizing with the gentle breeze, unresisting, untouched by fear or doubt. I told him, "Freedom is not the absence of walls but the absence of anguish that confines the soul within them." The warrior reflected deeply, Buddha said, his spirit awakening to the truth embedded within the simplicity of acceptance and the release of suffering. "The iron chains remained unbroken," Buddha said, "but the warrior's heart grew vast, transcending the prison walls and the limits of the physical world. The warrior found peace," Buddha said, "not in changing his circumstances, but in changing himself, in embracing the liberation of the spirit." As Buddha stood in silence, the forest enveloped us both, its essence alive, its truths vast and boundless like the sky. Another day, another lesson. Life continued forward, impermanent yet beautiful, inviting me to follow the river's flow into understanding. Another day, another sunrise. Golden rays broke through the horizon, illuminating the meadow with warmth and a promise of renewal. Buddha sat beside a field of wild grasses, his presence as serene as the wind weaving through the tall green stalks. Now, Buddha said, his words tender yet resolute, let the warrior's journey illuminate your path. Reflect on what binds you and what frees you. The disciples closed their eyes, their breaths synchronized, their minds opening to the stillness within, the echoes of Buddha's teachings resonating. The Bodhi tree stood tall and steadfast, its roots deep, its branches sheltering the seekers of truth from the storms of existence. Under its canopy, amidst the silence of the night, the seeds of wisdom continued to bloom. Nurtured by the timeless guidance of Buddha, the stars above glimmered, witnesses to the quiet transformation of hearts choosing freedom in acceptance. Its essence continues, undiminished by the transformations it undergoes. The wind carried the whispers of nature across the meadow, mingling with his words, weaving them into a deeper resonance. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.